viewers, welcome to CEC Gurukul Lectures. I am Dr. Sanavar Soham from Department of Botany, Kalindi College, University of Delhi, and I have been taking up plant systematic series. In the previous lecture, I had discussed about various types of documentations, taxonomic documentations like monographs, flora, periodicals, revisions, etc. I will be continuing with another form of taxonomic literature, which are taxonomic keys. So to begin with, what are taxonomic keys? A taxonomic key represents one kind of taxonomic literature. A key is an artificial device, a tool or an arrangement for the determination of the names of plants included in it. Thus, a botanical key can be defined as a device for easily identifying an unknown plant by a sequence of choices between two or more statements. The first key was introduced in 1778 by a French botanist, Lamarck. The critical observations that a person determines the specimens need to record are habit, phyllotaxy, which means the arrangement of leaves on the branches, shape, apex, margin of the leaves, venation of leaf, trichome characteristics, floral features, presentation, the number of ovules, fruit types, etc. Thus, keys are determined as the devices to help in identifying the plants. Traditionally, in floras, the keys are diagnostic. That means they are used so that we can understand the conspicuous and clear characteristics. Sometimes such characters are referred to as the key characters. Taxonomic keys are aids for rapid identification of unknown plants. They constitute important components of floras, manuals, monographs, and other forms of literature meant for the identification of plants. Now, the prerequisite of identification is list of characters to be prepared. So, the keys are fundamentally based on characters that are stable and reliable. So, how do we construct and how do we use a key? For that, the keys are made by using a number of contrasting characters to divide a larger group of plants into smaller and smaller groups. For example, we divide the various group, whatever plants which we have and they are unknown, into plant with vasculature versus plant without vasculature, or say vascular plants with seeds versus vascular plants without seeds, plants with enclosed seeds, that is enclosed within the fruit, versus plants which have naked seeds, or seeds with embryo with two cotyledons versus seeds with only one cotyledon in the embryo. So, in this slide, you can see that the land plants, this is just an example to show that the land plants are basically divided into smaller and smaller groups to reach to an identification. For example, we have first divided the land plants into plants without vasculature and plants with vasculature. Now, plants without vasculature will be comprised of bryophytes and pteridophytes. If suppose the unknown plant which we are studying doesn't fall into this category, then we group it into the other one, which is plants with vasculature, which have, that is xylem and phloem, or are known as higher plants. Now, these are further divided into smaller groups based on the presence or absence of seeds, and if the seeds are present, then we can further divide into seeds which are naked and seeds which are enclosed, and so on and so forth. Now, we see that some other characters or pairs that are often used are herbaceous versus woody habitat, actinomorphic versus zygomorphic flowers, perianth versus perianth absent, ovary superior versus ovary inferior, etc. Now, it is very important to obtain as much information as possible about the characters of the taxa to be identified. Say, selection of a proper key is also necessary to arrive at a quick, correct identification of an unknown taxon. It is also necessary to apprise oneself of various terms of glossary and abbreviations prior to reading of a key, so that we can very well conclude which group it belongs to. To arrive at a correct name, it is advisable to verify the results obtained through the use of a key by comparing the unknown specimen with an illustration or with a herbarium specimen. Now, based on the arrangement of characteristics and the utilization, two types of keys of identification are differentiated. They are, number one, the single access or sequential keys, and the other are multi-access or multi-entry keys, which are also known as polyclaves. Now, to begin with, we'll start to understand what are single access or sequential keys. Now, these keys are based on diagnostic, that is important, and conspicuous characters, which are known as key characters and are thus known as diagnostic keys. Such keys are based on pairs of contrasting choices and are dichotomous key. They were first introduced by Lamarck in his Flore Francaise in 1778. Now, how to construct a dichotomous key? For that, we need to prepare a list of reliable characters for the taxon for which the key is to be constructed. Now, for each character, two contrasting choices are determined. For example, plants with seeds and ovules enclosed, and the other choice will be plants with seeds and ovules and not enclosed but naked. Each choice constitutes a lead and two contrasting choices form a couplet. Now, these two terms are very important and should be very well understood before we move further. I would now like to explain again about lead and couplets. So, if we talk of couplet, when we started with that plants either belong to a category or other category, say naked seeds or seeds enclosed, so these two alternating contrasting choices form the couplet. But each choice, say the choice saying the plants have naked seeds is one lead, and the other lead of the same couplet will be plants with enclosed seeds. I will be using these terms again and again in this lecture. For characters having more than two available choices, the character is split to make dichotomous. For example, if a flower in a taxon is red, yellow or white, so we will first make it into dichotomous leads. We will basically make into two choices. The first one would be, say, flowers red versus flowers non-red, and then we'll make the second couplet, which would constitute flowers yellow versus white. Based on the arrangement of couplets and their leads, there are three main types of dichotomous keys. They are indented or yoked keys, bracketed or parallel keys, serial or numbered keys. Now, I will start with indented keys. As I already told you, they are also known as yoked keys. In this type of key, the statements, that is leads, and the taxa identified from them are arranged in visual groups or also known as yokes. In this type of key, each couplet has its two leads indented by the same amount from the left hand edge of the page. The first couplet to be consulted is one which is least indented and has first lead at the head of the key, and the next appropriate couplet or the subordinate couplets are indented below the primary one at a fixed distance from the margin. the distance increases with each subordinate couplet. An indented key is sometimes provided with accessory numbers to help the user, especially if the key is too long. Such numbers help the user to easily pick up the corresponding couplets. Now, we'll move on to the example of an indented key for the major group of seed plants. Now, whatever I discussed, you will find in this slide. In this slide, you can observe that the indentations here are there in the first and the second couplet. Now, you see the first numbered is the primary couplet and its alternate lead is there at the end. You can look here, it is written that this is the alternate lead. Now, if you see the margins, they are indented at same distance for the primary leads, the primary couplet. Then, if we talk of subsequent couplets or the subsequent leads, we will find that if suppose we are talking of the first couplet, if the plant does not fall in this couplet, we'll move on to the second clue or second lead. Now, when we find that the plant is in this lead, then we can move further with subsequent leads and the couplets. But in case our plant does not fall in this, then we will directly move on to its alternate lead. And now another thing to observe is that in this slide, the second couplet, which is the subsequent couplet, is indented more towards the right in comparison to the primary couplet, and so on and so forth. Another important observation is that the primary couplets are not adjacent, rather they are far apart, and the subsequent or subordinate couplets are closer and closer to each other. The leads of the subordinate couplets are at increasing distance from the margin, and the leads of initial couplets are far separated, whereas those of subsequent subordinate couplets are closer. Such an arrangement is useful in shorter keys, especially those which appear on a single page. But what if the key is very long and runs into several pages? In that case, indented key exhibits important drawbacks. That is, it becomes difficult to locate the alternate leads of initial couplets, as they may appear on any page. I had given the example in previous few slides, and I had shown that the alternate couplets basically appeared on one page because the example I used was of a shorter key. But if the key is long, then the alternate couplets, the primary couplet is far apart, may appear on any page in the upcoming key. So it becomes difficult to locate the alternate leads of the initial couplets. Secondly, the important drawback of this is that with the number of subordinate couplets increasing substantially, the key becomes more and more sloping. That is, because the indentations are moving towards right hand side from the margin, for every subsequent couplet, sloping becomes more and more, thus reducing the space available for writing the leads. This may result in wastage of a substantial page space. Now, these drawbacks are taken care of in bracketed or parallel keys. So, what are bracketed keys? They are those keys where two alternative clues or couplets are written in adjacent lines, giving reference by numbers to their successive subordinate couplets, and the margin is always the same, unlike in the indented one which I just discussed. Each couplet has its two leads immediately adjacent, one below the other, under the same number on the left hand side of the page. The first couplet to be read stands on the top of the key under the number 1 on the left hand side of the page. This is same as an indented one, but the opposite the leads on the right hand side of the page, subsequent numbers such as 2, 3, etc. are used as reference numbers further down the key. Now, in a bracketed key, it is by use of the numbers that the determiner is directed to the next appropriate couplet to consult. So, we use the numbers, these reference numbers, to move to the next clue. Let us now take an example of a bracketed key for the major group of seed plants for which we have already seen an indented key. Now, in this slide you see this is basically the example of bracketed key. Now, in bracketed key you can see that the first and the second, the primary leads of a couplet, of the primary couplet, are adjacent to each other. And if we talk of, say, if we have an unidentified plant and we want to group it and identify it, we'll first start in this, according to this key, we'll start with plants with seeds, ovules enclosed within ovary. That is, ovules are not naked. So, now once we know that the plant is here in this group, we will start up and we'll move to this reference number 2 and directly move on here, where the flowers are mostly tetramerous or pentamerous. But in case the plants which we are trying to find out, have ovules which are naked, so we will directly conclude that we have this plant from gymnospermy group, right? Now, in bracketed key, another important feature is indentation. You can see that in the slide that the margins basically of all the primary couplet as well as the subsequent couplets are at the same distance from the margin. So, indentations is not at different margins, difference from the margin, but at the same starting point. In this, there is a problem that the visual basically observations cannot be easily made. So, what are the advantages of bracketed key? The arrangements of couplets in this type of key are useful for longer keys, as the location of alternate key is not a problem, as they are always together. Also, there is no wastage of page space because the indentations basically are not increasing. The distance is not increasing and it is not sloping towards the right side. Now, what are the disadvantages? Is in indented keys, similar elements are placed in such a manner that they can be visualized as groups very easily because they are yoked. Such easy visualization is not possible in such kind of bracketed keys as they are parallel. Now, retention of positive features of indented and bracketed keys is achieved in another type of key, which is known as numbered key or serial key. This key retains the arrangement of the yoked key with no indentations, so the distance from the margins remains the same, and the location of alternate leads is made possible by serial numbering of couplets or leads when separated and indicating the serial number of alternate lead within parentheses or brackets. Now, we have discussed single access key. We will move on to multi-access key or also known as polyclaves. The dichotomous keys that we just discussed are based on the principle of one entry point, that is single access or sequential key. In order to improve the efficacy with the determination of the name of the taxon, multi-access or multi-entry order-free keys have been introduced. They are also referred to as polyclaves. Such multi-entry keys are user-oriented and can be commenced at any position. Unlike the dichotomous keys, where the author provides the characters, in such multi-access keys, the user selects the characters and not the author, and we can basically start the identification at any point and with any character of our choice. It can proceed even if the information about a few characters is insufficient or unavailable. Multi-access keys are usually produced in the form of punched cards. Now, what are punched cards? Biaki and Clark in 1938 were the first ones to use punch cards. Clark prepared such multi-entry perforated keys for the identification of hardwoods. Now, there exist two kinds of perforated or punched keys. To begin with, I will discuss edge punched keys. Now, in this kind of punch key, a given card represents a Texan and each card has a number of characters or attributes. Each attribute is represented by a hole at the margin of the card. This slide shows an edged punch card. Now, you can see that in the center of this edge punched card, this is a Texan which is represented by edge punched cards, and at the margins you can see there are holes which are all over and which represent a single attribute. Each hole represents a single attribute. If a given Texan possesses the character, the given hole is notched. That means if the hole is notched as the edge, that particular attribute is present in the taxa which we are studying. The cards of different taxa are then stacked one on the top of the other, and the Texan cards are sorted by use of a large needle. The user runs the needle through the character hole of the card. Say for example, we take the opposite leaves. The characteristic of leaves can be, orientation can be opposite or alternate. So, if suppose we take a Texan which has opposite leaves, we will run the needle through the character hole of the card, which says that the leaves are opposite. Now, from all the stacked cards, once the needle is pierced through the leaf opposite holes, only the cards notched for this character shall fall down, and interestingly, the choice and order of selection of characters are solely decided by the user, as we started randomly with leaf orientation. The fallen cards then are stacked again with another character is chosen where the needle is to be pierced, and the process continues till only one card remains, and that represents the unknown Texan. Now, moving on to another type of punch key, which is body punched key. In this kind of key, the holes are punched in rows on the main body of the card. So, what is the difference between body punched card and the edge punched card is that, unlike in the edge punched key where each card represents a Texan, in body punch key each card represents one character state, that is an attribute. For example, say leaf opposite. So, numbers are printed on the card to point out standard position of each Texan. So, the numbers basically tell about the Texan which we are studying, and the card basically, each card is one attribute or the character of any plant. If the Texan possesses that particular attribute mentioned on the card, its position is punched out. Say suppose leaf opposite is present in a particular Texan, so we punch the hole which represents that. The cards are stacked and held against the light. When only one hole shows through the light, that Texan or hole represents the identity of the unknown plant which is studied. Now, this slide shows a body punched card. Now, there are, you can see 6 cards, body punched cards in the slide A to F. Now, these basically each card represents one attribute. For example, A represents homocellular rays that occur with the heterocellular rays, and B represents another attribute, C another, and so on so forth. 1 to 4 basically, which you can see in the form of holes, and the numbers represent the taxa on it. Now, you can see some are white and some are dot punched. So, this basically represents the taxa and the attribute present in that taxa. Now, these are the diagrams of punch cards for identification of some Nigerian species of ficus where A to F were the diagnostic characters as I told you, and 1 to F were various species of ficus. Now in taxon 1, say Ficus ovata, characters B, D and E were not applicable, whereas characters A, C and F were applicable. So you can see in the slide that the punch shows the presence or absence of these attributes. Once the holes are punched at appropriate positions in all the cards, we are ready for identification. The user starts the identification process by picking up the first card concerning the first attribute. For example, card A in his list of attributes of the unknown plant. Then we pick the second card concerning the second attribute from the list and we place it over the first card. This will close some of the holes of the first card and some of the second card, and only those holes will remain open which correspond to the taxa which contain both the attributes. The third card is then placed over the first two and the process is repeated with additional cards until finally only one hole is visible through the pack of selected cards. So the taxon to which this hole corresponds is the identification of the unknown plant. The summarization of steps which are prerequisite for the preparation of key are: it should be dichotomous, first word of the couplet should be identical, second part of couplet should be contrasting, we should avoid range of characters in a couplet, the statement of couplet should be positive, characters of features chosen should be easily observable, the leads of the consecutive couplets should not begin with the same words, and the couplets of key may be either numbered or lettered. There are many faults and limitations of a key. So if a given key is not working properly, maybe it is faulty. For example, as mentioned, the key must not be appropriate for the area which we are studying. Sometimes the characters mentioned in a key are quite fictitious and are not really observable in the specimen. Sometimes, even if in the given pair characters are contrasting, they are not distinct. So the choice of good characters should be made properly. The choice of an intermediate character in the plants to be named is unhelpful, so we should have a distinct number, or we should be more clear about the character to be chosen. Key could be difficult to use if the plant to be named is from extreme environmental conditions, is new, a hybrid or previously unreported. So it is also possible that author has mentioned many species that actually present in the given geographical area. So I hope in this lecture you have been able to understand the various kinds of taxonomic documentations, floras, monographs, etc. You have been able to enumerate the salient features of such documentations, name a few internationally acclaimed taxonomic documentations, understand the concepts of single, access, multi-access keys, etc. Thank you.